Welcome to Sold with Webinars, a podcast that aims to uncover how the most successful experts, coaches, consultants, and e-course professionals sell their products and services with just one sales presentation or webinar. A simple sales webinar can transform the business and life of a solopreneur. And this podcast will show you how other experts just like you are generating 6 and 7 figures per year online with their webinars. So let's get started. Hey everybody, it's Joel Irway here, and welcome to another episode of Sold with Webinars. And if you want to learn how to get massive amounts of traffic and webinar registrations, today's episode is specifically for you. I was chatting with one of my customers, Josue Pena, who managed to get 2,525 webinar registrations on his very first webinar, and he didn't even spend more than $1,000. And so he's using a very unique strategy on Instagram that's allowing him to get massive exposure for himself and his clients. And I wanted him to go full exposure and show us exactly how he did it. And so if you've never considered using Instagram for a source of traffic on your webinars, you're definitely going to want to tune into this episode. We go deep and we expose everything that he's doing. And there is absolutely massive opportunity for you to grow your audience using simple tactics that he shared on today's episode. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Josue, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. It's an honor. This is one of my favorite podcasts, so it's an honor just to be here. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So we worked together about a year ago, and when we were working on your webinar, I remember talking to you, and you were going to launch your first webinar. And after you did, I had asked you, hey, how did it go? And how many people did you get on? And when you told me the number, it was so strange because I was expecting, we ended up getting most of my clients when we're doing Facebook traffic, which is the primary source of how I normally drive traffic to my webinar, which is why I'm so interested in learning about your Instagram strategies. Normally, when we do Facebook traffic for a weekly live webinar, we'll throw $1,000, maybe $2,000 in ads, and we'll get 100, maybe 200 people to opt in and register. And so I was expecting a number in, we had 50 people register or 100 people register. And then you shared the stats with me, and you're like, yeah, we had over 2,500 people register for our first webinar. I was like, my jaw, I had to pause for a second because I'm like, that can't be right? It was true. Yeah. And you've been crushing it. So ever since then, that was, maybe October or November of last year. So it's been about a year since then. You have then taken your Instagram strategies to the next level. You've got online CEOs. I'm anxious to hear all about what your Instagram strategies are. So before I keep rambling on, do us a favor, do my audience a favor, give us a little background about who you are, what's your backstory, how did you get into Instagram marketing, and then we'll jump into the main meat of the conversation.
Yeah, sure thing. So the reason why I started in social media was completely different, probably than most people. And it was because I wanted to become a professional soccer player. So my case, I was in Dominican Republic, and my ideology was, if I'm not in social media, I'm going to be stuck. It's a poor third world country. I have no exposure. So I need to grow my social media. That was my mentality. So I started growing, and then I get the chance to move to the States. And then later on the road, over a year ago, I get the chance to become a pro. I said no, because entrepreneurship, it was fun and social media was taking off. So that was a super brief intro of how I got started into this. But I've been trying for 4 or 5 years, failing completely on Instagram, trying to figure things out. And about in, I would say February 2016, that's when things started taking off really, really quickly. And the reason was because I thought to myself, what happens if I apply traditional business knowledge on Instagram itself? I was hearing Russell Brunson, I was hearing Mitchell Harper. I was going to do my master's degree in innovation and entrepreneurship. And I decided to apply, market research, who your competitors are, modeling success, all these different little things. And I applied it on Instagram, and it just blew up. It just blew up like crazy. So now it's over a year and a half, and over 4.5 million followers, been featured in magazine, podcast. It's been crazy. Work with big time entrepreneurs, travel all over the place. So it's been really awesome. So yeah, it paid off, I would say, really, really well.
That's awesome, man. So your background is incredible, right? You get into social media because of, kind of where your where your background is, where you came from, and you thought that that was your only opportunity. And so it's just so happens that like, so I'm going to speak from experience. There's people like me who, in terms of traffic, one of the more reliable sources that I focus on is Facebook. And I just really haven't, it's been very successful for me, very profitable. And I'm always looking at other sources of paid traffic. I'm a big proponent of paid traffic. And so when we were working on our webinar, you're talking about your Instagram strategy. I'm like, okay, great. Like another, it's just another strategy. But then when you filled your webinar, I was like, whoa, like, okay, this is something that I need to pay attention to. And so let's talk about then, okay, you're growing your follower count, right? So like, we're not going to talk about necessarily how to grow your follower account because that's not the core focus of what our strategy of what our conversation is today. Yeah. But it's now turning those followers into traffic, into links, and ultimately into sales into your site. And so, how did you start to figure this out as like a business model? Like as, hey, I can start to do this for other people. Like, tell me about that transition.
Yeah. So, well, for me, it was like my journey, like on how it started was like, obviously at the beginning it was like, oh, it's only the follower amount. Then it came down to, started learning about funnels and all these different little things. I'm like, okay, I can push affiliates. And then started like diving into little things like that. And I saw the opportunity with Instagram stories and like the different updates that were coming up that you can push a lot of traffic from Instagram really, really easily. So in my mind, that's basically how it came down to. And when, like, say the webinar came up, it was like, by that time, I already knew how to push traffic from Instagram because I've already done it with affiliate offers. I've already done it with an ebook, with several ebooks, right? I have accounts in the fitness industry and all that good stuff. And I already knew how to push traffic from Instagram. And I really knew also how to leverage my follower amount against other people to make sure they pushed me. They pushed, I don't know, anything that I wanted, just in exchange later on that will push there. So like a shadow for shadow or an ad for an ad kind of thing. So I already knew that part because in the Instagram world, everybody does shout out for shout out and stuff like that. So I was leveraging as well my follower amount when pushing traffic to that webinar in particular. And I remember like in that webinar, like I had no idea, like I don't know what big numbers are. Like my mind, I'm like 2,500. I was like, oh man, I wanted to get 5,000. It's like that's what my mind was thinking. But then you're like, no, the normal thing is like 100. I'm like, oh really? Okay. So it was like mind opening, and you were like, you were supposed to push slowly. That was like the first webinar. You're supposed to test the waters. I'm like, oh, see, I did not know that part. But it was like really fun because like we filled the webinar. And our room only got like 1,000. So we maxed it out. Like people, I don't even know if people were able to get in or not. Like I know we had 1,000 people live on the webinar, and I'm sure like, it caps out at 1,000. So I'm sure there were more people coming in, trying to come into the webinar, and they couldn't because it was full. And then in the actual pitch, I remember there was like over 800 people in the actual pitch. And we're Instagram dudes, not webinars. Obviously the conversion rate dropped because it was like the first webinar. But still, like we still made money. Like it's still 5 figures. So it was like the most amount of money I've ever made in my entire life. Again, like coming from a poor country that I was making like $300 a month as an engineer. So making 5 figures in one night, I'll take that all day long.
It's amazing. Okay, so I want to push this conversation now to strategies that our audience can leverage no matter what industry, no matter what niche that they're in. And so, as we mentioned before, there's strategy number 1, where it's you can grow your own Instagram follower account, and that's great. That's your own asset. I'm always going to advocate for that. But then there's the other quick win method, which is go leverage other people's audiences and go leverage their assets and push traffic to your site. That's the one that I really want to focus on right now, because for anyone who's listening, they can get a really quick win if they're promoting an auto webinar, if they're promoting really anything, a live webinar. So then that's what you call influencer marketing, right? So give us an introduction, right? So what is influencer marketing? And let's start there. And this is my first time really kind of learning about it. So I'm going to put myself in the shoes of somebody who is a novice, and I'm just going to ask a lot of dumb questions. I'll be the dumb student here, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. So influencer marketing is like, let's just put it like this. You pay Facebook for ads because they have an audience. Like they own what? Like 2 billion people by now on their platform, something like that. I don't know. So you pay Facebook to push traffic to your stuff. So influencer marketing is just that. Instead of paying Facebook, you pay somebody else that has an audience to push traffic to their stuff. So on Instagram, like let's say you are in the fitness space and you have a fitness program to lose weight for women, right? You find then accounts that are targeted for women in the weight loss space, more or less. And I don't know, you pay them to push traffic to your stuff. So it can be either a post on the Instagram story with a swipe up feature now that everybody has, or it can be just a normal post crafted, obviously strategically, and then that will push traffic to the link in the bio of the actual influencer or to the link in your own bio in your own account. So it can be either or. So that's basically how, in a nutshell, how influencer marketing works on Instagram.
Okay. So you're reaching out to an influencer and you say what? Like, hey, yeah, I want to promote my crap on your site or on your account?
It's as simple like most accounts have either an email, a kick. Kick is a secret, I would say, like where everything goes down. Like the secret underground world of Instagram is Telegram and Kick. There's two messaging apps. If, like they have the Kick in the hand, like in the bio, and if you just message them on Kick and you ask them how much for a promo, like you can just give you something.
What is Kick? What does that mean?
Kick is a messaging app like WhatsApp or Messenger or.
So is it KICK?
KIK.
Does it stand for anything?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is green and black. So if anybody is looking for them in the app store, it's green and black. So you message them and you just ask how much for a promo. Like it's as simple as that. Like how much for a promo? They're more than likely going to say, like, I'm not kidding you. Like the prices sometimes I get, I feel bad for them. Like I'm like, dude, like you have 1 million followers. You shouldn't be charging me $50. Like, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm paying you. So like they're happy for it. So I'm whatever. So that's basically how it works. And most people will charge you extra, obviously, to put your link in their bio. Some would not even do it, but it depends on the influencers and stuff. But once you start establishing a relationship with them, that's a cool part. Once you start establishing a relationship with them, like let's say they push traffic to your stuff, you see like I don't know, a bunch of registration came through, is converting, all good stuff. The influencer doesn't know that. They just care about the quick money up front, and that's it. You start establishing a relationship with them, and later down the road, like they can give you packages with a discount. So you can buy, I don't know, 10 for, instead of $50, you buy 10 for 40 each one. So like, you start establishing a relationship with the influencer, and it will go a long way. And if you wanted to give them like an affiliate, you can do that as well. I prefer keeping my money.
So let me understand something. Okay. So I reached out to somebody to say, hey, can you promote my webinar? Mm-hmm. Are they going to ask, like, what do you do? Like, do they even care, like, what it is that you're promoting?
Yeah, so they do. Some do. Most of the time, what I do is I tell them what it is, right? If you're in the fitness space and you're in weight loss, you're like, okay, you want to establish yourself as a brand, right? You want to talk yourself as a big company because that's what they're used to working with. You don't want to say, oh, I'm just a guy, in front of my computer, just doing a webinar, and I just want you to push traffic. You want to say something like, oh, I have like this company and we have this product and I think you are a great fit. And I would like you to promote it. And how much do you charge? That's like the framing, because they're used to working with companies that sell apparel and like in fitness, right? Like apparel or supplements, or if let's say you're in the entrepreneurship space, they're used to working with people who just want to grow their Instagram and just care about big following stuff. So the way I will frame it is I'll reach out to them, say, hey, XYZ, how much would you charge for a promo? Then they come back to you and say, oh, what are you promoting? And they're like, oh, no, just like this product I have that does XYZ PDQ. You sell, the results. And they're like, okay, cool. It will cost you X. And you're like, all right, no problem. Here it is. What's your PayPal? I'll send them the money. By the way, one thing, if they say send to friends and family, the way I get around that, never send to friends and family unless you know the influencer person, like you have a relationship. The way I get around that is no, I won't send that like that. I'll cover the fee. I won't send it as that just because it's a tax deduction. I need it for a tax. If I send it to friends and family, quote unquote, I can't. Yes, you can, but just tell them that. You'll thank me later, especially like if you run into an influencer that's a little bit scammy. So that's the way I do it. It works pretty well. And
okay, so you reach out, you say, hey, listen, I've got this product, want to do a promo. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Like, what do the typical promos look like? I mean, so like if they create a post for you, how long is that post going to run? If they create a link for you in their bio, like what's a typical promo look like?
Yeah. So let's say the Instagram story. The way I would do it is, if it is a brand page, meaning a page that like, that the features of the people, like it's just big and stuff like that, like it doesn't have a face behind the brand. What I would do is either tell them, their audience is used to seeing them on camera behind the stories, right? Tell them to do the stories. So they will basically go, let's say you come to me, right? And you have, I don't know, something in Spanish. Like, let's just put it like, because I have accounts in Spanish as well. Let's just say you have something to sell in Spanish for the entrepreneurship niche. What I will do is I'll go on my Instagram account. I'll put an Instagram like story on my own Instagram with my face, talking to my audience, selling whatever result of like selling the registration. It's a free registration or whatever. Selling that and just tell them to swipe up. Like you'll put, cool little emojis here and there with the swipe up thing. So you'll do like 2 or 3 stories, not one, because sometimes one, people don't have their volume up. The first one you put emojis, turn the volume up. The second one, you have, you frame the offer, like the influencer frames the offer a little bit, explains what it is, blah, 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 blah. The third one is a swipe up. Third and fourth, usually swipe up. It's like, 40 seconds. No big deal. It's easy.
So it's actually it's like 4 separate posts.
Yeah,
if we're doing a stories promotion.
Exactly.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So the first couple you have to bring. It's like typical marketing. You have to bring awareness to whatever it is you're talking about, right? So that's important. So you want to make sure that they're bringing awareness to it, so you're getting the maximum exposure out of the promo. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Like most people don't like do it like that. You just put like one post and they put a picture. I'm like, pictures last like 3 seconds and people don't even look at them. Like that. No, like if you want to do a picture, do it the last one, because they already saw you and heard you. And the last one, it can be a picture, whatever. I prefer video though. So that's a typical Instagram story.
But how many days is that? Like, so if they're doing 4 stories,
that's 24 hours. Each one, like if they do 4 stories, like I do it in a row and that lasts for 24 hours. So they'll be up for only 24 hours.
Okay.
But you'll get a lot of people. Like usually, like I'll say that I'll share the stats more or less. Usually what happens is between 5 and 10% of the total follower amount will see the stories. So if like the influencer has 100,000 followers, between 5 and 10,000 people will watch the stories. If they have like great account, great engagement, it will be more than that. Between 5,000 and 10,000. Between 5 and 10% of that will click the link in bio or swipe up. So we'll swipe up. So it will be between 500 and 1,000 clicks that you'll get from that particular one. So it varies on how the influencer frames it. If the influencer is used to being on camera in front of the audience, stuff like that. Personal brands that like influencers that have a face behind the brand are more powerful than those who don't, because the audience knows them, likes them, and trusts them. And if the audience knows them, likes them, and trusts them, and they recommended your stuff, you're like already way ahead in the buyer's process, basically. So that's basically how it works in the Instagram story, part. In the normal post, let's say, what I will do is I'll create a picture or an engaging video. Here it doesn't really matter. And what I'll do is I'll put text in the picture, right? And let's say, for example, again, I'm just thinking about fitness because I have this fitness book next to me. So let's say you're pushing something in the fitness world. You just basically would say something like, in the actual picture, you put a nice picture. Let's say you're selling, I don't know, 6-pack abs. You got a picture of a nice guy with 6-pack abs, whatever. And you say something in the actual picture. Do you want to have a 6-pack? Like short words, like not too much text. Do you want to have a 6-pack? Free training, link in bio. Like that's in the actual image. You'll put that, and then in the caption, you will go a little bit deeper on the benefits, what it is, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you put you put the handle 3 times, like with emojis pointing to the handle, because our thumbs are fat and we cannot click on just one handle. So we put 3 in a row, like 3 in different lines. And you put 3, and that's it. People will click a lot on the link in bio. Like that post will not get a lot of engagement because people know it's an ad. So you will not get a lot of likes or comments on it, but you will get a lot of clicks. So, which is your goal, obviously.
So how much does that typical promo run?
That one can run anything. Like that can run for an hour. Like it all depends on like what your deal with the influencer is. Like Instagram stories run for 24 hours max, and then that post can run up to forever. Obviously, what I will do is if the influencer said 24 hours, let's say he charges you for 24 hours instead of 24 hours straight. What you want to do is, if you're doing a post, tell him to do 3 or like more than one post in those 24 hours, the same one. So let's say you posted this picture at now it's going to be 12. So let's say you posted this picture at 12 and he said 24 hours. So until 12 tomorrow. What I will do is he will post it at 12. Then he will take it down in 3 hours, 3 to 5 hours. Because what happens is you get 90% of the engagement on Instagram comes in the first couple hours. So like at the end of the day, like normal people will see it. Like if you leave it like at hour 18, like nobody will see that post. So it's like wasted. Like you're just wasting. Like it's just floating there because it already died off. And since it's not a viral post, it will not come up in the people's feed. So you want to make sure, like obviously not all the influencers do this, but if you're able to arrange a deal with them where he posts it, leaves it up for 3 to 5 hours, takes it down and posts it again, and then leaves it up for 3 to 5 hours, takes it down and posts it again, and then you leave it for 20. Like that kind of stuff. Like between 24 hours, you do. If you're able to do it between 3 to 5 times, you're gonna get a lot of clicks, like a lot. I didn't even do that for my own webinar, and I got a lot. So yeah.
That's awesome. So, I mean, but how much would that post cost? So, like, if you were to go buy that from an influencer, right?
Well, like I said, like
just give us a range. That's all we're looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, if you come to me, obviously I would charge a lot more because I know what my value is. But 90% of the influencers on Instagram do not know what their value is. So they will charge you like, I know for a fact, like a fitness account with 1.3 million will charge you $50 for a shout out, and with the link in bio, will charge you like 20 more. So like $70 for a promo. For like, I think 12 hours or something like that. So $70 in front of 1.3 million people, potential reach. That's a lot. So let's say you are like, okay, cool. But what about instead of 12 hours straight, can you split it in 3, like 3 posts in 12 hours? And he's like, okay, but it's going to be 150. And you're like, cool, no problem. Or 200. Okay, cool, no problem. Like you're going to get 3 times the exposure if you do it like that instead of 12 hours straight. And it's going to cost you like a little bit more, maybe.
Let's pause for a second. So back up, repeat that because you're moving pretty fast. So
okay,
how do we 3x the exposure here?
Like, yeah, sure thing. So the way you 3x the exposure and the amount of traffic you're bringing is instead of putting, let's say, a promo for 24 hours straight, you divide it up, right? Or 12 hours straight, you divide it up. So let's say this influencer with 1.3 million followers, this account has 1.3 million. It charges you $70 per post with the link in bio. Instead of putting it for 12 hours straight, you tell him, hey, can you split it in 3? And what he'll do is after the hours is done, he'll split it in 3, and 3 is like 4 hours. So 4 hours each post. After 4 hours, he'll take it down and post it again. So
as opposed to what's the other option?
Just leaving it straight up. So like he posted it, leaves it straight up for 12 hours and then takes it down. So the 12 hours total.
Oh, so it's so I understand now. So it's the same post.
Mm-hmm,
he's
exactly.
just taking it down and reposting. Okay, I got it. So you're saying, just for clarity, right? You pay an influencer for one post with the link in bio, right? And typically what they'll do is they would create that post on their account for 12 hours straight, and then take it down because that's what the agreement was.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is leave it up for 4 hours, then take it down and repost it for another 4 hours, take it down and repost it. Okay, got it. And that triples the exposure?
Oh, yeah.
So that's like hacking the algorithm.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. And again, like the people who saw the post, like seen the post multiple times and didn't click the first time around, they're gonna be like, "Huh, I'm gonna go now because like I've seen this way too much. Like I've seen this 3 times, so I'm just gonna check this out." So again, it's like kind of like quote unquote follow up. It's not a follow up, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, so I want to direct this conversation a little bit. I want to pivot a little bit, right? So here I am. I've got an account that I'm considering launching and starting, and I know my end goal is to get. I want to raise brand awareness, and I also want to send people to my account. So I've got a brand new account from scratch, Experts Unleashed, which we are going to be launching in 2018. We haven't even created any products to sell yet. We're going to be doing a YouTube channel, and we're going to be doing, we'll probably be doing Instagram as well. What do you recommend? Should I be reaching out to influencers to grow my Instagram account first, and then do some sort of promos internally to my audience, or is it more powerful to do promos to external audiences?
Yeah. So when it comes to Instagram and pushing traffic, there's 2 goals. And I always tell like my clients and everybody that I work with, there's 2 different goals. One is brand awareness and another one is traffic, like sales, right? There's 2 different goals and the strategies are different. If I was going for, let's say, grow your account, what I will do is I will not pay for shout out. I will pay for likes and comments. And the reason being for that is because I'll explain a little bit when it comes to like the Instagram algorithm. So I'll get a little bit engineer here with you. And I'm guessing you're fine with that because you're an engineer too. What happens in the Instagram algorithm, let's say when I like and comment on your picture, if we're in the same niche, right? What that ends up happening is that my followers, let's say I have 100,000 followers and you have 1,000, we're in the same niche. We already know that your audience is interested in my stuff because again, we're in the same industry. So what ends up happening is when I like and comment on your picture, my audience is going to see your post in their phone. They're more likely to do that. So once I like and comment on your stuff, they're going to see it and they're going to like and comment as well because again, we're in the same industry, same niche, and we already know that they're interested in your stuff. Another thing that's going to happen is that since let's say I have 100,000 followers or more, that's a high authority account, quote unquote, on the Instagram's eyes. So what ends up happening is that in Instagram's eyes, they're telling, okay, this high authority account just liked and comment on this post. So that means this post must be good. So I'm going to surge it a little bit more for more people to see it in the algorithm. So at the end of the day, they want to keep people on their platform. And the only way they do that is by showing relevant content to their to people who might be interested in that. And the only way they do that is they only show good content. So if your content is good, and I like and comment on your stuff, two ripple effects happen again. My audience is going to see your stuff in their phone, and Instagram is going to surge it up because a high authority account just liked and comment on your stuff.
Is that a paid promotion? Can I pay for somebody to like and comment on my? Okay, all right, got it.
That's a monthly subscription, quote unquote. It's not a subscription. They're called power likes. So, and again, you save time because you only have to spend 30 seconds on Instagram per day, which is awesome in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So, what I'll do is I'll reach out to some people don't do it, and this is the way I frame it. Always start with the promotion price. It will give you a good gauge and a good idea if the influencer knows what their value is. And it will then also give you a little bit of leverage when it comes to negotiation with the actual likes and comments. So this is what I would do. I reach out, ask them for a promo. Ask them for the link in bio. They tell you the price. Then you ask them, how much is a story? They give you the price. If they have 1.3 million followers and they give you $70, you know for a fact they don't know what their value is. Come on. So okay, cool. You know how more or less how much you will pay for likes and comments. So you tell them. Then after you get those two prices and you talk to them a little bit, then you're like, do you do any likes and comments? How much would you charge for that? They're more than likely they're gonna be like, oh, I don't do that, or I've never done those, or they give you the price. More likely it's gonna be the first two. And then if they say no, I always try to get the yes. And the way I do it is just tell them, hey, it will only take you 6 seconds. And it's just I can always I love your account and my friends love your account, and it's gonna be super cool if they see a like from your account on my stuff. And it only takes you 6 seconds. And it's gonna be you're gonna get paid monthly for 6 seconds of your time. Come on, more than likely if you frame it like that, super simple, they're gonna be okay, I'll do it. And you will be your account will grow exponentially quicker, extremely, extremely quick with that alone. If you have great content, you know what's working in your market space in your industry, that alone, that's kind of like the gasoline on the fire, and you will grow extremely quickly. And obviously you will drive a lot of traffic to your people. And then what you do is you jump on your own Instagram stories and you start engaging with your audience there. You give about free value. You give away, a free ebook or whatever it is. And then you tell them, okay, so after you have 10,000 followers in a business account on Instagram, you tell them you swipe up or you click the link in bio and you push traffic to your funnel or your webinar in this case. So that's the way I would do it and the way I've done it. And it works really, really well.
That's awesome, man. Dude, Josue, you shared a lot of tidbits today in terms of just getting massive amounts of traffic. The last thing that I want to talk about before we sign off is I want to talk about what I think a lot of people don't they look at the numbers holy crap, 2,525 people on my first webinar. That's awesome. Talk about the demographics and the quality of traffic that comes, right? Yeah. Because I don't know the quality, right? I don't know that there's got to be a difference between Instagram traffic and Facebook traffic. Yeah, maybe there isn't, but what have you seen in terms of quality for Instagram?
Yeah. So on Instagram, since it's a massive audience, you're going to get people that are not as highly qualified. So what I'll do personally, and what I did also for that particular webinar, is I weed out a little bit with people beforehand, before the actual webinar. So what I did is I don't recommend pushing directly to a webinar, especially for cold traffic, meaning like people outside your own accounts. I wouldn't push directly to a webinar. I tried it a couple of weeks ago and it didn't work as well. I got a lot of registrants, but it didn't work as well in terms of conversion. So what I'll do is, unless you have been on that influencer's page multiple times and that
and they know you.
Yeah, exactly. So what I'll do is give them a free ebook, like the lead magnet that people have already. Like probably like 90% of the people hearing this already have a lead magnet. So give that away, and then have like a short, email sequence or whatever, warming that audience up. If you have a tripwire offer, you can offer then throw that in as well, like $7, $17, whatever it is, and that way you're also covering a little bit of your ad spend, and you're seeing who the actual buyers are, right? And that's the way I will do it. And that way you weed out a little bit of the people who are not really interested in purchasing your stuff. But again, like, yes, on Instagram, the traffic is massive, but it's going to be a small percentage that's not it's not worth it. But I'll take that all day long because massive amounts of traffic. And let's say, just call it 10%. 10% of the people are never going to buy. Cool. But you got this other 90% that you can retarget, you can talk to, you can nurture. Those people are actually interested in your stuff and will actually buy from you. The way you will go around it and just making sure that that 10% is as small as possible is just asking the actual influencers to share their stats and share their demographics with you. So now everybody has Instagram analytics. You can see where your followers are from and what countries, stuff like that. So if the influencer's audience is I would say I don't know, the countries, it's like India, Bangladesh, Philippines, unless you're selling stuff to them, and you're more likely you won't get any sales. So ask them what demographics are for their particular Instagram. If they have United States or UK or Australia or something like that, countries that have more, people that have more, I would say, monetary power, then in the top countries, then you can go ahead. Okay, cool. This influencer is worth it. His audience is good. And I will go around with the promotion. Again, I'm saying, influencers are underpriced crazy on Instagram. They don't know what they're worth. I've been talking to a lot of even personal brands, personal people who have 200,000 followers on their personal page. They're broke, and they're using just shouting everybody out on Instagram just because they're trying to get a little bit of money here and there, and they don't know what they're worth. So you can help them.
I have to imagine that those audiences are a lot less valuable too when you're just shouting everybody out trying to get numbers. I mean that's got to be kind of a word of caution too, especially now that we've got Instagram analytics, right? That's got to help when you're looking for influencers. But that would be a word of caution for people who are out, looking to get promos. Well, you always have to look at quality of traffic.
Exactly. But for example, I was talking to 3 guys in the fitness space. They do calisthenics and bodyweight training, and they have the girl has 190,000 followers. She's been everywhere. She's been in commercials from Nike and stuff like that. But they're still broke, and I'm like, how can you be broke? You have 200,000 followers almost, and you're on a personal page. That's super powerful. And they're like, yeah, but I don't get I don't know how to monetize. Brands come here and there. Not many brands come with me. So I'm like, oh, Jesus, this is crazy, And for example, with them, what you can do is just simply tell them, hey, I have this webinar. Let's say again, her name is Molly. I will just go to Molly. Let's say, this is a perfect example. Lady Boss, right? Brandon, Kaylin Pullman, they have Lady Boss. What I'll do is, for example, I will Brandon. I actually know him. We talked about this already. Brandon will go, let's say, to Molly and say, hey Molly, I love your page. I love what you're doing. I have this webinar coming up, or this product. What you promote it on your Instagram stories. For them, super, super easy to promote it on Instagram stories because it will go down in 24 hours no matter what. So their audience is not going to be saturated. They're not going to feel it is an ad. And it's going to be more organic, natural. So Molly will go on Instagram story, say, hey, what's up, guys? How you doing? Molly here. And I want to talk to you about my good friend, Kaylin and Brandon. They have an awesome program called Lady Boss. So if you're a girl and trying to lose weight, just swipe up for the free webinar. It's a completely free training, blah, 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 blah. And people will just swipe up all day long. And for her, it's easy money. It takes her 40 seconds to make 70, 100, 200, whatever the amount is that she charges. And for you is a huge boost in traffic, is a lot of registrations. And again, people know, like, and trust Molly, and more than likely they're going to know, like, and trust Brandon and Kale and Pool and Lady Boss because of that. So
awesome. Josue, man, this has been a great interview. We had a lot of great things that we talked about, and I'm super excited that you were able to kind of share all of your insights about Instagram, all of your insights about how to get massive amounts of traffic, and on the flip side, letting people know that, like, okay, great, there's a lot of opportunity right now there with influencer marketing, but you got to take a step forward in the right direction, making sure that you're getting quality traffic, and I think that's super powerful. So super grateful that you're able to share that with us. So where can people go and find you? Do a little shameless self promotion right now.
Sure thing. So if everybody like on Facebook, ironically, don't reach out to me on Instagram because all my Instagram notifications are turned off. I have like 4 million followers. So as you can imagine, there's a lot of stuff going on there. But you can reach out to me on Facebook. My name is Josue Pena. I'll always answer all the messages. We have a private Facebook group called Collective Entrepreneurs Online, or if you look up CEO, that will come up as well. And if they want to check out the webinar that I have going on, just go to igboss.com.
igboss.com. Awesome. Awesome, Josue. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for sharing your knowledge on influencer marketing with Instagram. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. And for everyone who's listening, give Josue a shout out, connect with him, let him know that you heard him on Sold Webinars, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. You can also follow and watch the behind-the-scenes look at how I'm personally launching a brand new 6- and 7-figure product from scratch at soldwithwebinars.com/TV. And if you'd like to come hang out with other fellow experts, join our Facebook group at soldwithwebinars.com/experts. Join us next time, and I'll see you there.